The Whistleblower examines nonpartisan issues of fraud, waste, and abuse at the expense of the American consumer, giving an insider's view into the risky, secret, and potentially lucrative world known as whistleblowing, and highlighting the courage and integrity of the Davids fighting Goliaths, and those who help bring about justice for others at their own expense. Host Mychal Wilson is one of America's most successful whistleblower attorneys, winning multi-million-dollar settlements against big corporations that have committed fraud and taken advantage of the consumer. He's also assisted various state and federal agencies in recovering over $580 million in American taxpayer dollars. The Whistleblower.
Welcome to The Whistleblower. I'm your show host, Mychal Wilson. Today we have a great guest, a human rights activist and author, Miss Manda Zand Ervin. She has a book called The Lady Secret Society about women in Iran. Manda, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so Iran has been in the news a lot, again, for human rights violations. People have been executed, sentenced. And you are the author of a book called The Lady Secret Society, which is out. And, you know, about the historical treatment of women in Iran. And so can you give us a little background? Because everyone, when they say Iran, they say, okay, 1979, Ayatollah Khomeini, the Shah, the hostage takeover, and they kind of leave it at that. What is the background here?
Yes, well, Iran was an oil producer, one of the biggest countries in the Middle East produced oil, and the British were taking our oil for 50 years, paying nothing for it. But then we had a revolution, constitutional revolution, and the new government who took over the country, and it was the Pahlavi, the Shah's father, and they said, no more, you have to pay, and we're not going to, continue that contract paying for nothing for what you're taking from us. So the whole argument on the price of oil continued for about until 1978, when the discussion was again, the 50 years contract was up and the British wanted to renew and pay very little and have another 50 years contract, and the Shah was not going to accept it. And at that time, I had just graduated college in America. I'd gone home, and I was sort of sitting in London behind the Secretary of Economics Affairs, and I was taking notes. The issue was the British wanted to pay only half the price of the market, and then they wanted 30 years contract. Mm-hmm. But we did not want to pay. We wanted twice as much, the price of the international price, and we did not want to sign any contract more than 5 years. And that caused sort of for the British, French, and German and United States during President Carter, right, to decide in Guadeloupe Island that we were going to get rid of the Shah. And Khomeini was also a very bad person, and they wanted to push their religion. And at that time, I was educated in America. At the same year, 1979, I was the managing director of the Department of International Affairs and Statistics in economics department. Anyway, and I was the only woman in 1978 to represent the country among 181 countries in Brussels, international gathering of the customs administration leaders of the world. And we had 3 senators, women senators. One of them was speaking in United States Senate and was the chair of the International Women Lawyers. And she was a professor of law at the university also. And we had 28 members out of 112 members of the parliament were women in Iran. We had 3 members of the cabinet were women. Women of Iran. One young Iranian woman became the international teen princess in 1977, and we were winning all kinds of prizes, and we were a part of the world.
Right. And so what happened?
The decision was, okay, let's get rid of the Shah and bring in Khomeini. Khomeini was a very bad person, and so he wanted to establish his Shiaism in Iran, and so he did. He lied to President Carter. He said that I will allow you, under my government, American businesses and citizens are going to be safe, which he had lied. He proved, he could have created the situation and hostage taking and all of those stuff. And he took over Iran, 8 years of bloody war, killing 1 million people with Saddam Hussein in Iraq. And we are very peaceful people, Iranians. We are very, very loving and caring, music, dance, poetry and all of that. And then all of a sudden, after 8 years of war and killing, and then massacring 8,000 children, young people that they had arrested in prisons. Anyway, it kind of in 10 years, Iran went from a progressive country and became what the Islamic regime established in Iran.
Right. Which still exists today. Which still exists today.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. During this whole time, Iranians have had 4 uprisings in Iran.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, in 2009, about 6 months after President Obama had taken over, there was the Green Movement in Iran, and they shot a young woman like Mahsa Amini. Again, that was Nida Agha Sultan, and they killed her on the street and standing next to her boyfriend, and her face, blood coming out of her face on the sidewalk, was taken by her friend's video telephone, and that became worldwide. And people walked on the streets of Iran. Obama, are you with them or with us?
Right.
But they heard nothing.
So, Manda, I have a question here. When you say they, are you specifically talking about the government, or is it that, in Iran, you can walk down the street, men, women are together, or is there a big brother looking down? Because you hear these examples of someone was executed for dancing or going to jail because they were dancing, or they weren't wearing proper dress, or they protested and so they were executed. I mean, who's doing this? Is it just the specific government?
Yes, it's the government. It's the government. Khamenei took after when Khomeini died. Khamenei, another clergy, took over, and then they established the Islamic laws, the most horrible laws of aggression, gender apartheid. You talk about apartheid. I have a long list of the laws against women in Iran. First of all, women are not recognized as human. They say women are another kind of animal, but Allah made them look like human, so men can willingly have sex with them, so they would not be scared. Then women have half the right of men. Women have no right to divorce. Women, the clergies tell you what a woman in Iran is not allowed to leave her house, is not allowed to speak loud, is not allowed to go out without covering her head, and this is not like the women in Saudi Arabia. This is the Iranian women who have been always highly educated.
Right.
And they were chairperson of the international lawyers, women lawyers. So it's we have fought by our action against them. And the last part of this fight, which is socially out there, is the head cover. That they force you to be undercover, which is, which is a intimidation
Yeah.
of humanity of women.
Right.
That's why that hijab is intimidation, keeping the women sort of intimidated and not be able to talk or say anything or feel a whole person.
Amanda, we have to take a break. But when we come back, I want to know, and the audience wants to know, why are women treated like this? Why in society are women degraded to this degree?
Islam.
All right, we're going to take a break, and we'll come right back to that. All right, welcome back to the Whistleblower with our great guest here, Manda Zand Ervin. Okay, so Manda, let's talk about this. Why is it Islam? I mean, hasn't Islam always been part of Iran, even with the Shah, or is it more of a Sharia law type of thing going on here?
Well, Sharia law is the laws of Islam. Actually, Iranian religion has been since 4000 BCE. Iranian religion has been what you call, nobody knows about, Zoroastrianism. Zoroastrianism is a very peaceful religion. The main canon is good thoughts, good words, and good deed.
Mm-hmm.
That's Zoroastrian Iranian religion that has been from 4000 BC until 7th century AD, when the Islam came, and they are in Saudi Arabia of today and Arabian Saharas at that time. And when then they decided they want to spread their culture. Islam is kind of culture of the Arabs. Even today, they are carrying the same religion. So they decided to conquer the world and promote Islam, and they did. The first they created, they took over Iran, they took over Egypt, one of the oldest civilizations of the world. Egypt, Persia, all of these, they took them. They took the whole northern Africa, made them all Muslims, and they became Arab. Not only they enforced their religion, their culture through their religion, they enforced their language.
Right.
And they got rid of the civilizations of all those countries. But we Iranians fought back. And we decide we're not going to speak your language. Our language is Sanskrit. We were there, we were civilized people, and we're not going to speak Arabic. So we had, they were not able to make Iran an Arab country.
Oh, okay. So let me ask you this question here, because during the recent World Cup, I said to a friend, I said about Qatar. They were talking about the human rights abuses there, how immigrants were were mistreated, and my friend the family is from Iran, and I said to him, like, you know what? So really, everyone's pointing their finger at Qatar about mistreating people. I'm like, I mean, what do you think about that? I mean, from the States, we have sex trafficking here. We've had slavery here. We've had mass shootings here. I said, is it really that different in Qatar or Middle Eastern countries compared to here? I said, we have abuses of LGBTQ here, right? And my friend goes, you have no idea what goes on in Iran. Is there really a difference in Iran compared to the United States? Or is it just more extreme how people are treated?
Well, Iran now is under the Islamic rule. Islam has its own list of discrimination against everything and everybody, but men. That's it. If you're not a man, forget it. You're not, you don't matter. That's what it is. And we have Iranians, we have been fighting against Islam since for the last 14, uh, uh, 14 centuries. Yeah. So the issue is that we have fought against Islam. We did not accept it. We fought against it, but they keep coming back because Iran is where everybody has come to conquer. Arabs came, conquered, they destroyed, so set fire on their universities, on the library that they set fire. The history says it took 3 months on fire. It was the library in Iran. And then after the Arabs, finally we got rid of them. The Mongols came from the north, Genghis Khan. And then after a few years, the other Mongol came, Timur Lang, also conquered and destroyed. And then the Turks came, and then the Tatars came. Anyway, our country has been where.
Manda, you forgot about the West, about the U.S. and Britain.
Well, you see, the main issue is around the beginning, end of 19th century, the British came. That's when they were in India.
Right.
They had, and then they came to Iran. They had discovered oil in Iran, and then the Tatars were ruling Iran. At that time, they were not Iranians, they were Tatars who had taken over our country. So the Tatars said, okay, you pay the king, you can take whatever you want for whenever you want. And that's what the British had for 50 years, took Iranian oil for nothing.
Right. And so the treatment of women over time, though, has that been kind of ingrained in Iranian society?
No.
No. And so your book, The Ladies' Secret Society, what does that focus on?
Yes. It's about the Iranian women who helped started to start a constitutional revolution in Iran. Mm-hmm. They fought with men. They established a magazine for the first time in Iran. So they finally they were even a part of the constitutional revolution military. They fed the soldiers, the revolutionary soldiers. They stood up during the night to let the soldiers sleep and rest. They went to the bazaar and got food and shoes, boots, blankets from the shopkeepers for the revolutionary soldiers. So because they was very poor, they were poor. So what happened finally, we won the revolution. Mm-hmm. And after the revolution, clergies wouldn't give away. They would not allow anything to change. So the constitutionalists decided, okay, what do you want? They said, okay, the family laws should remain under Sharia law. And the constitutionalists, the men, they said, okay, but you stay out of everything else. They said, okay. So the system changed from the old and to the new. When the First World War came and we went through the war, and meanwhile, the first parliament that was elected in Iran was bombed by the Russians, and everybody was killed. Anyway, but these ladies, the ladies of secret society, they established their organization to fight against the clergies, and they did not want the family laws under the clergy's rule.
Right. Does the secret society still exist today? I mean, is women in Iran, they still have the secret society to fight against the clergy?
Well, that's a different. The time, the era has changed. So the secret society of that time, who continued to until we got everything from, with the help of the Shah, the women got the right to vote, the right to be elected, become everything like Western thing. But that kind of ended there at that point because we had achieved everything. I was the recipient of all the things that the Ladies' Secret Society had done.
Right.
But now it's the heritage. You see, Iran is the land of Mother God. Iranian society is a matriarchal society. Our language is matriarchal. We don't have he's and she's. You say brothers and sisters, we say sisters and brothers. Always woman comes first. Woman, you see, in Western language, you have man and wo man.
Right.
We do not. We have zan, one word for female, and mat for a man. There is no, and in every part, woman comes first. Zan comes first. That's why they chant in Iran, Zan, zendegi, life, freedom.
Right.
Zan is woman, zendegi, life, and freedom. So Zan in Iranian society is matriarchal. So we have the power. For thousands of years, we have been the mother gods. Son is mother's
so
son.
Manda, with that power, and then what the audience wants to know, with the way women are still being treated in Iran, is there a secret society? Are women still fighting against the clergy to help create some type of change so that women aren't persecuted for dancing in the street or without wearing proper dress?
The women's secret society right now are the younger generation.
Okay.
Because they are strong, they are young, and they see the world, they see the past, they know their history. I'm one of the people who sends messages to Iran to tell Iranian women the history, because Confucius has said a country who does not know her past will not have a future.
Right.
So this is what in Iran we are doing, because the Shiite clergies, they take away our history. We have Cyrus the Great. I don't know if you've heard of him or not. Cyrus the Great was the first human being in the year of 539 BCE who wrote the first Declaration of Human Rights, which Thomas Jefferson used that to apply in the United States Constitution, which nobody talks about in America. Anyway. But so this is the culture of human rights in women as gods, as Iran is a mother god, Mother Iran. Iran is a feminine word, is not a masculine.
Listen,
So,
Manda, we have to take a break. When we come back, let's talk about what your prediction is of women in Iran and where Iran as a society is going to move to within the next, say, 20 to 50 years.
Okay.
We'll be right back with the Whistleblower. All right, welcome back to the Whistleblower with our great guest here, Manda Zand Ervin. Okay, short segment here, Manda. So where are we going with Iran now? 20 to 50 years. Will women stop wearing, covers? Will they be accepted on the same level as men? Or what needs to happen?
Well, actually, where we are going, pretty much the end of the Islamic regime in Iran. It's not legitimate. We've never accepted it. They are not Iranians. We do not recognize them as Iranian or Iranian government, period. Especially the women.
Right.
They hate them. So this is a revolution in Iran. Finally, with the younger generation, they are now the daughter gods instead of mother gods, and they are fighting against these old, backward, power-hungry people, and they do know who they are. They now know what their motherland is. They know Iran is the woman, and that nobody, their personality is nobody, no man can tell me what I should be able to do or not.
Right.
I am the mother Iran. So therefore, this regime is done.
Yeah. So how much time now do you think? I mean, everyone says the regime's done, or like, is it 5 years, 10 years, 20 years?
Well, it all depends on what the Western friends are going to do.
Right. So, Manda, your book, The Ladies' Secret Society, sounds like an awesome book. Where can people buy this book?
It's on Amazon.
Okay. And where can people reach out to you?
Yes, I have a site, Alliance of Iranian Women .org, and they can contact me on my site, and also directly my email address. Everything is on my site, and I want to ask the Western world, if possible, please do not support the Khamenei regime for the sake of humanity. If we claim that human rights, if we respect the rights of every person in the world, Iranian people, young Iranian women, 90 million, can be good friends of the Western world if this regime is gone.
Well, listen, I want to say that's a courageous statement, which is why you were on the show here. And I want to say thank you for being courageous, your sense of morality and integrity, and everything you've gone through, and to really give us and the audience an idea of the kind of historical background in Iran and women in general there. So I'd like to say thank you, and I'd love to have you back on here, Manda.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. On behalf of all my little sisters in Iran who are fighters.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching another episode of The Whistleblower. If you or someone you know is aware of abuse, corruption, fraud, or waste, then please visit our website, thewhistleblowershow.com, to learn how to legally blow the whistle. I'm your show host, Mychal Wilson. Stay tuned for the next episode of The Whistleblower.